Donald Trump's campaign continues to collapse. It was in full meltdown mode over the weekend. Donald Trump trailing in major polls now, down significantly. Vice President Kamala Harris pulling ahead and getting about 50+% of the votes in some of these new polls, which I think is an important metric. So what does Donald Trump do? Well, double down, attack Taylor Swift, act like a immature, petulant third grader, no offense to immature, petulant third graders, and post things like, I hate Taylor Swift. Also claim that Vice President Kamala Harris got the answers fed to her through earrings during the debate. And then Donald Trump bragging about how he won the debate, but also saying that it was rigged at the same time. And then all of MAGA saying, oh, it was rigged. It was 3-on-1. I'm not sure that's going to play well with, I don't know, common sense voters and pro-democracy voters and independents. Also, did you see J.D. Vance's disastrous weekend appearances? I don't know if you saw this, but he said that we make up stories like Haitians eating dogs and cats to bring attention to issues that we want to bring attention to issues. So in other words, you lie and you've now placed entire communities and their lives in jeopardy. More elementary schools had to be closed in Springfield, Ohio. The Haitian community has been targeted now, not just in Springfield, but frankly, across the country. We'll break that down as well. We'll show the contrast between the campaign stops that Donald Trump's been making. He made a campaign stop of all places in California. Not really sure why he did that one. He was also in Las Vegas, Nevada. We'll explain what he did there. And we'll contrast that to Vice President Kamala Harris's speech she gave at the Phoenix Award, which is a Congressional Black Caucus Award. And Governor Walz gave an incredible speech in Wisconsin. We will break down those speeches. And then we'll talk about the potential assassination attempt on Donald Trump at his Florida golf course, where the Secret Service had previously warned Donald Trump that that golf course was a hazard. It was dangerous and that it should not be used. It was right there by the public streets. And Donald Trump said, I don't care. I want to golf. That's the latest reporting we're getting from insiders. We'll talk about that and more. This is the MeidasTouch Podcast. Brett and Jordy, how are you both doing?
Doing great. It's great to be here, Ben. Big day for you, Ben. As everybody knows, Ben has been on Baby Watch 2024, and we are getting very close, I will say, to that happening. So stay tuned there. Everything's going good. I could not help but notice that, you know, as we've seen this, these polls rise for Vice President Harris in the wake of the debate, as we've seen Donald Trump not take it well, to say the least. The craziness has ramped up. Like this past weekend, it felt like a level up in the rhetoric that was coming from Donald Trump and his allies. It felt like a level up in the lying that we've been seeing. And it really started with this debate moment, you know, with the dogs and cats and him amplifying that to such a wide audience, that absolute utter lie about these Haitian immigrants who are there legally, by the way, in Springfield, Ohio. And every day now, it's just like 6 new lies that are just being spread constantly by Trump or Trump affiliates. And you could see them kind of really just beginning to crack and panic in such large ways. And I just think it's really getting to them. They don't know what to do. Their policies are not aligned with the people. They have no positive rhetoric to run on. So they go, okay, we'll just go full kind of Russia disinformation campaign, just flood the zone with all this crap and hope something sticks and hope people care. But, you know, as I look at it, I think that people are just done with the chaos. I think people look at it. I think people look at the lies. I think people look at everything that's going on with Trump and go, I am just like exhausted. Like this is exhausting me, and enough is enough. And so I think we're seeing that in the polls. I think Donald Trump is going to continue to spin his wheels and just make things worse for himself as he always does. He's not good, you know, in this sort of position. And it's just been interesting to see. We got a lot to talk about. Jordy, what's new?
Well, excited for the show tonight. And Brett, you know, to the Midas Mighty audience out there, I think as the days go on and the polls look worse and worse for Trump and the other chaos of the campaign continues to unravel in real time, I just want our audience to just be prepared. And I know we all are. They're trying to get you exhausted. They're trying to make you tired. but hang in there every step of the way. Don't let them get to you. Just let it be used as a reminder for exactly what we don't want this country to fall back into. And that's another Donald Trump presidency. Ben.
I want to share with all of the Meidas Mighty out there in various forms, whether it was the emails that you've sent me, direct messages I've received. I've seen numerous Reddit boards giving me advice about what I can do, and I'm grateful. I appreciate it. I really do. And it means a lot to me. And I've read those Reddit message boards. I've read all of these posts with some incredible suggestions. So honestly, thank you for taking the time out of your day and your thoughtfulness for sharing with me some parenting tips and what I will be going through in the next 24, 48 hours and thereafter. Just to give everybody a sense, it's our expectation that within the next 48 hours or so, the baby will be born. I think the baby will be born on Tuesday or Wednesday, and potentially checking into the hospital later. We'll keep you posted every step of the way, but we are able to do this podcast without any significant time constraints now. So I just don't want anybody to worry about that, at the outset. And my wife and I are incredibly excited, and we have a meal plan before we kind of check in. And so again, I just want to, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's get into the show. Enough about me. Let's talk about what Donald Trump was saying in his golf course in Palos Verdes. And then let's compare that, and that's in California, and let's compare it to Governor Walz and Vice President Kamala Harris. So one of the things that Donald Trump said that he wants to do with the Haitian migrants who are lawfully in Springfield and have contributed to the economy in major and important ways, have been incredible workers. Donald Trump wants to take them, and he wants to bring them to Venezuela. Here, play this clip.
No, I will. Maybe Springfield, maybe Aurora, maybe both. We'll go there. I can say this. We will do large deportations from Springfield, Ohio. Large deportations. We're going to get these people out. We're bringing them back to Venezuela. You know, he told Biden he's not accepting anybody back. They moved all their criminals. Not all of them, but the rest are moving in now.
And again, I mean, it's horribly racist. It's a lie. Then he's told during this press conference or whatever this is supposed to be that he's doing in his golf club in California. But, the mayor of Springfield, the Republican governor, all say that what you're saying is a lie and it's hurting the community. And here's what Trump says in response.
The mayor of Springfield, Ohio, the police chief, the Republican governor of Ohio have all debunked this story about people eating pets. And now there are bomb threats at schools and kids being evacuated. Why do you still spread this false story?
The real threat is what's happening at our border, because you have thousands of people being killed by illegal migrants coming in and also dying. You have women dying as they come up. They're coming up in large groups. We call it a caravan. I think I came up with that name, but it's really what it is. 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 people.
Then you have him kind of doubling down and tripling down on this rhetoric. But he's asked about, how do you think you did in the debate? Lots of Republicans are saying you did really bad. Like, what's your response to that? Here, play this clip.
Questions on the debate. First of all, I know you've said that you will not do another debate. Some of your own Republican allies have come out and said that you missed the mark, that you missed.
No, excuse me. Most of my Republican allies had said I was great in the debate. You're just like, a lot of other people at Fox. Well, why don't you say 94% of the Republicans said I did phenomenally in the debate. Some said that I could have been tougher. I don't know how I could have been tougher when I said he's the worst president and she is the worst vice president in the history of our country. 94% of the Republicans, and the only one that wouldn't, maybe a Mitt Romney or somebody like that. But we've gotten great praise for the debate. And based on the polls, like Rasmussen being up 6 today, the first poll out, based on the polls, obviously, I did well in the debate. Also, based on the debate polls, where I sometimes had, in one case, 92% win. So, look, you come from Fox. You shouldn't play the same game as everybody else. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And this is just who he is. It's the election denialism all over again. He goes, the debate's rigged. This is rigged. This is a lie. The poll numbers say this. And he relies on his own, like Twitter polls or whatever. And then here, by the way, you have Donald Trump. He's asked about Laura Loomer, who, as I've said, she's really taken the place of Marjorie Taylor Greene and has become like their MAGA queen. The undisputed MAGA female boss right now is none other than Laura Loomer. And Trump saying, well, why are you hanging out with this right-wing extremist, Laura Loomer? Here's what he said. He loves her spirit.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Your Republican colleagues or your allies who are concerned about your close relationship with Laura Loomer?
Well, I don't know what they would say. Laura's been a supporter of mine, just like a lot of people are supporters, and she's been a supporter of mine. She speaks very positively of the campaign. I'm not sure why you asked that question, but Laura is a supporter. I don't control Laura. Laura has to say what she wants. She's a free spirit. Well, I don't know. I mean, look, I can't tell Laura what to do. Laura's a supporter. I have a lot of supporters, but I don't know what exactly you're referring to. That's okay.
One of the most pernicious aspects of Donald Trump, not just who he associates with, right, but like he consistently posts Laura Loomer stuff over and over again, probably at least a half a dozen of his rallies, maybe more. He calls Laura Loomer out by name and says how courageous she is, what a patriot he is, how important she is to the movement. In private at Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump gives speeches and says, you don't want to be Loomered. Laura Loomer's out there. Where's Laura? Laura, you're the greatest. Keep doing what you're doing. Then she flies with him on the planes, but he co-signs everything she does. And then he uses her attacks on the judges' daughters, the opponents. He then adopts that as reports, and this is what journalists are saying, but it's coming from Loomer, and it's into his, speeches and his rhetoric, right? The whole thing about Donald Trump saying that, the earpieces that Kamala was wearing in her earrings was giving her the questions. That was what Laura Loomer was reporting on. And it was a lie and unhinged conspiracy. Laura Loomer was one of the first person posting the memes saying that Vice President Kamala Harris is not really black. And then Donald Trump used those memes and would just repost that stuff all of the time. Right here, this is at the speech that Trump gives later in the night on Friday in Las Vegas, Nevada, where he says he thinks that Kamala Harris got the questions fed to her via an earpiece in the earring she was wearing. Here, play the clip.
Sorry with that. Did she get the questions? You think? So I hear she got the questions, and I also heard she had something in the ear, a little something in the ear. No, Kamala, do this. Say it this way, Kamala. Okay, be quiet. Too many people watching.
And then he starts calling her names. Play the clip.
Hey, where's Harris? They know Kamala. They know Kambabla. That was the nickname I used for a while, but I don't use it anymore because everyone thought I was just mispronouncing her name. I wasn't. Kambabla. But no, comrade.
Okay, so then he calls on stage like a right-wing Canadian podcast host, the Nelk Boy, and the Nelk Boy uses his time to say that what he really wants is these tobacco pouches to not be taxed in Minnesota. Here, play this clip.
One more thing I know that's passionate about. Governor Tim Walz, he put a 95% tax on Zyn. We got to get that removed, President Trump.
Then Donald Trump was getting endorsed by Latin music superstar Nicky Jam, which was, I think a kind of punch to the gut to many in the Latino community. And when Donald Trump brings Nicky Jam on stage, Nicky Jam is a man. Here's Nicky Jam. Here's a photo of Nicky Jam, so you can just see what Nicky Jam looks like. I'll show you that in a bit. But here's what Donald Trump says about Nicky Jam. Yeah, that's who Nicky Jam is. And here's what Donald Trump says. Let's play it.
Latin music superstar Nicky Jam. Do you know Nicky? She's hot. Where's Nicky? Where's Nicky? Thank you, Nicky. Great to be having you here. Now you have to get, oh, look. Come here. I'm glad he came up.
I'm glad he came up.
No idea who he was.
No idea who he was. And Nikki Jam, who, supports Trump, went up there. Now he's just getting trolled in the community and by all of his people. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, Donald Trump, you endorsed a guy who couldn't even Google who you were to determine if you were a man or a female, and you were willing to give up everything for this guy. All right, so that's what Trump was saying. I want to talk about that, but I want to give the comparison right now.
Well, can we talk about it for a second? I mean, we got to talk about some of that for a second before we go to something totally different. Like this whole, first off, he just lies all the time. Like literally everything in his mouth is a lie, and I think that in and of itself is disqualifying, of course. But like this whole concept of like, they gave her the questions. They gave her the question. She knew all the questions. The questions weren't rocket science questions. Okay. This was like, what will you do about the economy? Mm-hmm. What's your plan for abortion? What's your plan for Ukraine? These are the questions that quite literally anyone could expect. And guess what the Trump people were doing the week before the debate? They were making fun of Kamala Harris for preparing for the debate. That's all they were. Oh, Trump doesn't have to prepare. He doesn't have to prepare. He just goes up there. He does his thing. That's what Donald Trump does. He just shoots from the hip. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Kamala Harris diligently prepared for the debate. She knew what she wanted to say at this debate. She answered the questions effectively, coherently. She had policy plans that she put in her answer. She had detail. And Donald Trump was ranting and raving about the last thing he heard in his ear, which were these conspiracy theories by Laura Loomer. But he can never just admit he had a bad night, right? He can never just admit, oh yeah, then I could have done better. He's got to continuously push this strong man, a weak man. But in this case now, he just looks weaker and weaker and weaker when he tries to push us, especially when it's something this apparent. And Ben, you mentioned something that was pernicious before. I want to mention just something that was pernicious here, and that's Donald Trump's lies here about the Haitian community in Ohio and throughout the country. I think I don't use this term lightly, but this is truly evil stuff that we're seeing with Donald Trump, with JD Vance. And we're going to discuss JD Vance in a little bit on this show. But to put these hardworking, legal Haitian immigrants who, by the way, were invited to these towns in Ohio and in nowhere near the numbers, by the way, like JD Vance and Trump throw out 30,000, whatever. It's like a few thousand. It's nowhere near the numbers. They're like, yeah. For them to be demonizing this community who were begged to come by the community, begged to come because this was a failing town. They were people who were hooked on opioids, hooked on all sorts of drugs. They were not taking the jobs that they needed. The town was failing. Like they literally could not man the factories. They could not get farmers. They could not do any work in this town. And these Haitian immigrants came in to pursue the American dream, and they took these jobs and revitalized the community. They are quite literally the only reason why this community is even standing today is because of them. And now I see all these videos of local people in the community who have to live in fear, whose kids are being targeted, whose homes are being targeted because of all this stuff. And then they like to cite, well, my constituents tell me this. That's, probably mostly a lie, by the way. But also what these people are doing is they're repeating the rumors, the hoaxes, the lies that are being spread by Donald Trump, and they are regurgitating it back on Facebook boards because there have been 0 cases of any of these things detected. We'll go more into this in the past, but I just think it's so evil, these lies. Like, it's not even just about, oh, he's lying about a policy, or he's lying, or he's exaggerated this. He's putting people's lives at risk with this stuff. And JD Vance is doing it also. And it's the lowest of the low. And we'll get into this in a bit more, but I just wanted to say.
JD Vance is a senator from the state, Ohio, and he is causing terroristic threats against his own state and his own constituents, and is harming cities in his state with lies. I mean, as a leader, you're supposed to say, look, that's not true. If you want to make your argument on immigration, the Republican argument on immigration, or the Trump argument on immigration, what your argument should be is something like this. We killed a bipartisan immigration bill, which had everything that Republicans ever wanted, that was led by James Lankford. And James Lankford is a conservative Republican senator from Oklahoma. We killed that bill at MAGA because here is our plan that we think is better than the plan that we've always said that we wanted, that President Biden agreed to implement as part of a broader compromise that we then killed. Here's our plan. 1, 2, they don't do that. Instead, they go, they're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. And again, when I talk about their perniciousness, the problem is this is no longer in the realm of a political discussion on policies, right? Because if the discussion was policy-based and driven and not like just why just be racist and horrible, it would be along the lines of what I said. Here's our plans, here's our proposals. But you all remember what Donald Trump said at the debate when he was asked, okay, you want to rip away the Affordable Care Act from the American people, where pre-existing conditions are now covered, where tens of millions of Americans, and I know you watching at home, you listening, you may have died but for the Affordable Care Act. Trump wants to rip it away, and he admits he wants to rip it away. He tried multiple times while in office to rip it away. So it's a fair game question to say, okay, you want to take away something that's keeping people alive? What's your plan? Do you have a plan? Well, I have concepts of a plan. I have concepts. You were promising a bigger, better plan since 2015. And here's the thing. You go down every single issue with this guy, and he's a fraud. He has concepts of a fraud, not even concepts of a plan. You even take the one thing, because he's not intelligent. So he knows drill, baby, drill, baby, drill. Well, there's more drilling now. Those are the facts. There's more drilling under Biden and Kamala Harris than there was under Donald Trump. America's energy independent now for the first time. It wasn't energy independent under Donald Trump. America leads the world in oil production and sales right now. Those are the actual facts. You go to another one. No tax on tips. Trump likes that because, number one, he could remember it. And two, he can appeal to people with yet another lie. But you go back and you say, well, what did Donald Trump actually do when he was in office? Trump's plan, the plan that he had, or the concepts of a plan that he had in office that Democrats blocked, was no tips. Well, I guess you can't be taxed on tips if there are no tips. So there may be that. But Trump's plan while he was in office was to allow bosses to own the tips of the service workers. Trump tried to push that through, and Democrats blocked it. Democrats saved the tips for workers, and now Trump goes there and then lies about it. It's why we need to be fact-based in all of these conversations. And what I like about Governor Walz and Vice President Kamala Harris is they called Trump out for it, and then they set out their plans. Here's the clip, for example, where Governor Walz says, we all deal with it. Friends, neighbors, family who claim we hate Trump, but he does have some policies. And I love Governor Walz confronting, goes, what's his policy? Here, play this clip from Governor Walz's speech in Wisconsin.
This is important. This is important, and you all know it. Because, look, we all deal with it. Friends, neighbors, family. Oh, I like Donald Trump. I don't really like how he swears and gets convicted of felonies and found liable for assaulting women. I don't really like that. Good, I'm glad you don't like that. But then they always go, I like his proposals. Which one? Taking your health care? Forcing women to bleed out in parking lots because they can't get health care? Tax cuts for billionaires? And I say this, if you're a billionaire and that's all you care about, he may be your guy. But if you're a working class person, a middle class person, a community member, I can't find much there. And the thing is, you don't have to look very far. He's not giving you much detail, except it's really great. They made it easy for us. They printed 900 plus pages in Project 2025.
I love that he confronts that head on right there. I want to show more clips of Governor Walz and Vice President Kamala Harris. I also want to get into the fact that Donald Trump spent the weekend in a temper tantrum posting I hate Taylor Swift. I mean, just think about the guys out there calling Vice President Kamala Harris Kamamabala in speeches, saying that she's not black, and then saying that she puts out, is what he said in the debate also, and saying, I hate Taylor Swift. And we're supposed to normalize this crap? Not going to happen here on the MeidasTouch network at all. Do me a favor, hit subscribe. I want to get to 4 million subscribers. Become a member of our Patreon as well. patreon.com/MeidasTouch. And we'll be right back after our first quick break.
I have to tell you about this game-changing product I use before a night out with drinks. It's called pre-alcohol. Let's face it, after a night of drinks, I don't bounce back the next day like I used to. I used to feel like I had to make a choice. I could either have a great night or a great next day. But now, I don't have to choose, thanks to pre-alcohol. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic Drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's actually this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your next rough day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme that breaks this byproduct down. Just remember to make ZBiotics your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Every time I pre-alcohol before drinks, I notice a difference the next day. Even after a night out, I can confidently plan on getting up early for a workout or handling a busy work day without worry. I won't lie, I was a bit on the fence about pre-alcohol at first, but then while hanging out with some friends at a rooftop bar, I gave it a shot. I had my first pre-alcohol before my go-to margarita, and the next morning, I felt amazing, just like my normal self, ready to take on the day. I kept hearing about pre-alcohol and wondered what it was actually like. Now that I've tried it, I believe the hype, and with their GMO technology, ZBiotics is working on more products to address other toxic byproducts of modern living in the gut. Go to zbiotics.com/Meidas to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use the code Meidas at checkout. That's MEIDAS. ZBiotics is backed by a 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/Meidas and use that code Meidas, MEIDAS at checkout for 15% off.
So what does the future hold for business? Ask 9 experts and you're going to get 10 different answers. A bull market, a bear market, rates will rise or fall. Can someone please invent a crystal ball for me, please? Until then, over 38,000 businesses, including the MeidasTouch network, have future-proofed their business with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud ERP, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one fluid platform. With one unified business management suite, there's one source of truth giving you the visibility and control you need to make quick decisions. With real-time insights and forecasting, you're peering into the future with actionable data. When you're closing the books in days, not weeks, you're spending less time looking backwards and more time on what's next. I use this, and you should too. Whether your company is earning millions or even hundreds of millions, NetSuite helps you respond to immediate challenges and seize your biggest opportunities. Speaking of opportunity, download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Meidas. You're not going to regret it. You got to learn all about it. That's what we're doing here at Meidas. The guide is free to you at netsuite.com/Meidas. Read it. NetSuite, netsuite.com/Meidas. That's netsuite.com/Meidas. Tell them we sent you and check out that CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning as well. Thanks, NetSuite, for sponsoring. All right, are you ready for this fact? Traditional bed sheets can harbor more bacteria than a toilet seat. It can lead to acne, allergies, and stuffy noses. It's just gross. Miracle Made, however, offers a whole line of self-cleaning antibacterial bedding, such as sheets, pillowcases, and comforters that prevent up to 99.7% of bacteria growth and require up to 3 times less laundry. It's why I use Miracle Made on my bedding. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, no matter the weather, so you get a better sleep every single night. It's why I love Miracle Sheets. Miracle Sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. So go to trymiracle.com/Meidas.
TryMiracle.com/Meidas and try Miracle Made Sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save up to 40%. And if you use our promo code Meidas at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to TryMiracle.com/Meidas and use the code Meidas to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's TryMiracle.com/Meidas to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode.
There you go. Support those sponsors. The discount codes are in the description below. And I'm also proud to announce our work with that organization, Leaving MAGA. Rich Logis, who spoke at the Democratic National Convention, he is going to be doing some videos where he's sharing stories of people who have left MAGA and people who have left MAGA fairly recently, how you can talk to your MAGA relatives, because ultimately for me, what this is all about, the MeidasTouch Network, this pro-democracy community, is about a love for our country. It's about pro-democracy, but it's also about pro-normalcy, Brett. And, I think it's so hard for people, and this is what Rich Lowe just told me in the video that we released today. One of the hardest parts for him leaving and other people who he talks to is they're so invested in the community. And that once they're so invested in a community, to leave is a very difficult thing to happen when your whole mind is wired and your friends and everything you have is this community. So one of the things I hope we offer here at the MeidasTouch Network is this unapologetically pro-democracy community filled with compassion and love of our country, where we welcome you here. Even if you are MAGA and you decide to leave today, I will welcome you here gladly to the MeidasTouch Network and to our pro-democracy community. I recognize that there are billions of dollars being spent to try to target them. So I just wanted to say that at the outset, Brett.
And Jordy just had to run for a second. Hopefully he'll be back soon. If not, you'll see him on the next show. Don't blame me and Ben, because I know that people get mad when Jordy's not here. But here is the thing. Going off what Ben was just saying, it's not only that it's difficult to leave MAGA because you have this built-in community, which is a huge thing. But one of the things that we noticed as well is that people who leave MAGA are often targeted by those who are in that MAGA cult, so to speak. It's very much like like a Scientology, almost in a way, where they deem you a suppressive person. That's like their language for anyone who speaks out against Scientology. And they use all their resources to go after you. They ghost you. They don't talk to you. But MAGA is almost bigger because they actually target you. They find you. They want to make your life hell. And I know Ben and I and Jordy have seen this happened to a lot of people who have renounced Donald Trump, who were Trump voters in 2016, who were Trump voters in 2020, who said at some points, different moments for everybody, they said, enough is enough. I'm going to vote for first, I'm not going to vote for Trump. And then ultimately, a lot of these people turned into Kamala Harris voters. They've made that announcement public, and you see the immediate backlash and the hate and the vitriol that they receive from those in MAGA. And so that's something, I think that's, worth being aware of. And so when I see these attacks every day, these relentless attacks by Trump, by MAGA, on people like Taylor Swift, on just anybody who kind of supports Vice President Harris, right, or renounces Donald Trump, they're not only doing that to try to threaten Taylor Swift, which I think is horrible in and of itself. Of course, Taylor Swift, some of her concerts have been targets of terrorist threats. She has had to deal with numerous stalkers over the years and a ton of horrible stuff. And Donald Trump is stoking that. I mean, it's what he's doing. But in addition to stoking those threats on somebody like a Taylor Swift, it's also a warning shot to other people, to other celebrities, to anyone else of influence, and going down to even just people, like you and me, just regular voters, right? It's a sign where you speak out against me, I will unleash the full weight of MAGA hate, the MAGA arsenal against you. That's what I'm going to do. And want to bet I'm going to do it? If I could do it to Taylor Swift, the most famous, the richest, one of the richest celebrities, superstar out there, I could do it to you too. So you better think twice, up and coming artist, about speaking out. You better think twice, actor, about speaking out. You better think twice, average American voter, about speaking out against me, because I am coming for you next. That's this whole strategy. It's a classic, tried and true kind of authoritarian strategy of not letting, people, of forcing people to kind of bend the knee and lashing out at them when they don't. But it's been kind of revitalized for the internet age in such a damaging way, because you could get hordes of people to attack somebody at one time using your influence. I mean, when you have that influence, when you have that level of reach, like a Donald Trump and those dedicated followers, if you turn them against people, it's like the most evil thing that you could possibly do right now.
Could you imagine if Vice President Kamala Harris or Governor Walz or President Biden used their social media and said, I hate fill in the blank of an American? No matter who it is, right? Like, I hate so-and-so. Could you imagine that, Brett? I hate Kid Rock. I hate whoever. I mean, I would view that as something incredibly disqualifying if someone were to express that level of hate towards an American. Not, I hate Vladimir Putin. I hate poverty, right? I hate the fact that there's economic inequality.
Yeah.
Right?
Things Donald Trump hates. Things Donald Trump loves. Putin, Kim Jong-un, things Donald Trump hates, American generals, Taylor Swift. It's just like, it's such a, not fascinating, but it just speaks volumes when you just look at those simple statements.
The leader of the Republican Party made a social media post, the person running for the presidency, I hate, and then it's America's biggest pop star and perhaps the world's biggest pop star. I mean, and then the Donald Trump news and all of MAGA was pushing this photo and this lie about Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift lost an estimated $150 million over the boycotting of her merchandise and memorabilia after she endorsed Kamala Harris for president. Thoughts? And then this gets spread on Twitter, now X, and it's just a lie. None of this happened. There's no boycott. She didn't lose any money at all. Just 100% false. And the photo that they're using here, that MAGA's using to spread this lie, is from after Taylor Swift debuted the song Ronan, a charity single written by Swift for a mother who lost her 4-year-old to cancer in 2011. And they're using that photo to act like, look at what Donald Trump did to her right there. In any event, let me go back to these Governor Walz clips because I want to show you what Governor Walz. Here, Governor Walz said, you want to take my advice? By the way, this is great advice that I take from Governor Walz. Surround yourself with smart women. Let's play this clip.
Two incredible senators who happen to be women. Jen Schultz, who's going to make a wonderful member of Congress. Gwen Walz, these three. Here's my life hack for all of you, all the guys out there, whatever. Here's my life hack. Surround yourself with smart women and listen to them, and you'll do just fine. You'll do just fine. That includes my fellow cat owner, Taylor Swift, too, by the way. It's really great to have all of these women help us beat the smallest man in the world, Donald Trump.
And here Governor Walz talks about how Donald Trump just spent his entire time whining and crying. Here, play this clip.
Read it. Tell your friends, send it to your relative that you're dreading seeing. Get it out to them. Because you know what? One thing I want to be clear about is, coming back to, no one should have been surprised by how she performed on that debate stage. From her time as a prosecutor, to her time as a county attorney, to her time as the attorney general of the largest state in the nation, to her time as a United States senator, to her time as our vice president. Every day, every single day, putting the American people first. She took on the predators, She took on the fraudsters. She took down career criminals and powerful corporate interests, which, by the way, was on the stage the other night, all those things. So this time, just to be clear, that criminal being on the stage got put in his place. All those things were wrapped up into one guy. And I think many of you recognized she used a wonderful line. He's not dealing with that very well. He's not dealing with that very well. But here's what she did simultaneously. And this is what true leadership looks like. And she says this time and time again, and I love it. A mark of true leadership is not who beats people down, it's who lifts people up, who lifts them up. So when it's a bully and there's a time, she proved she can beat some people down if they need it, which he needed it.
That was so good. And here, Vice President Kamala Harris speaking at the Phoenix Awards. Here's what she had to say about Donald Trump's healthcare concepts. Play this clip.
We actually have a plan for healthcare, not just concepts of a plan.
And all of you know, we're very data-driven here at the MeidasTouch Network, and it's why I don't structure these shows with kind of the split screen yelling at each other. I don't like yelling. I don't really like yelling. I like talking and presenting data and trying to have calm conversations to the best of our ability about the issues. And so when we talk about things like healthcare, I mean, we should talk about how President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris lowered the cost of prescription drug prices, how they've allowed the government to negotiate on behalf of Medicare beneficiaries who, as a result, have and will be receiving cheaper prescription drug prices, how they push down significantly the price of insulin, how they've capped the cost of prescription drugs for Medicare recipients. And they've been trying to do that for everybody who's impacted by the Affordable Care Act and all Americans generally. It's the Republicans who keep on blocking it. And, you know, there was that moment that Vice President Kamala Harris talked about in the debate with the late, great Senator John McCain, who, but for him, the Affordable Care Act would have been repealed. Donald Trump would have repealed it on the basis of concepts. And could you imagine if that was also repealed in addition to when COVID was taking place as well? And then, you know, Donald Trump's the only person who, you know, gets viewed as like, well, we'll give him a mulligan on COVID. Yeah, we'll take these stats, but then we'll give him the good stats on COVID. We won't talk that there was a mass casualty event taking place, but we'll say gas prices were down during COVID when there was a mass casualty event and people weren't driving, and there were Trump lockdowns at this time period. But we'll give him those good numbers. But then we also, anytime there's bad numbers like the record deficit, we'll just say that's the result of COVID. And that privilege, if you will, is on display as well. Again, it's so exemplified in the debate where you have, again, the Republicans who are now full MAGA. You really can't call them Republicans because classic Republicans support Democrats now and are pro-democracy and support Vice President Kamala Harris. But you've got the entrenched MAGA who's like, yeah, that was good. Trump crushed it in the debate. How good did he do there? Oh, also, they ganged up on him 3-on-1. Such partisan hacks. That was so unfair that they would treat Donald Trump this way. When you look at the data, Vice President Kamala Harris was never given even one opportunity to have the closing word on any question. Did you notice that? Donald Trump had the closing word on every question. He got the benefit of him getting his mic turned on, which didn't help him, but at every question. And then he goes and he complains that it's rigged and it's unfair and it's cheating. And then he cites a Twitter poll that has the kind of Vladimir Putin numbers. I won 92% to 8% by everybody. And it's like what Governor Walz said, just enough of this, enough of the whining and the crying. And now he blames the ABC debate in a post for this purported assassination attempt at the Florida Golf Club. Like that was his post. And now all the MAGAs are saying, yeah, because of the debate and because people are calling Donald Trump out for the things he's saying, that's what's causing. So you can't even say anything negative about him anymore. Deb, you can't actually even use his words anymore. And there's just been this concerted effort all day, Brett, on that point. I want you to talk about it, Brett, but we are hitting that point where we got to take our last ad break. I want you to chat about it. Let's take our last quick break, and then you break it down for us.
Taking the break first.
Break first.
All right, break first. We'll be right back. We do a lot every day, and typically at night, I need something to wind down. But I'm sick of all the calories, nasty hangovers, bloating, and other negative health implications that can come with having a glass of wine before bed. That's why I'm obsessed with Soul's new out-of-office THC gummies. Perfectly microdosed to get you blissed, not blitzed. This podcast is sponsored by Soul. Soul's new out-of-office gummies are perfectly microdosed with hemp-derived THC and CBD to give any day that chillin' on the beach vibe. I can't believe I didn't know you could buy THC products online like this. Did you know you can now buy hemp-derived THC products in all 50 states? The out-of-office gummies help you get that much-needed me time at the end of the day or during the day. They're convenient and delicious. Out-of-office gummies give you that warm, fuzzy, euphoric microdosed feeling without sending you to the moon. You could go for a jog, watch your favorite TV show, or head out to a party. Whatever floats your boat. Soul's out-of-office gummies have given me the perfect way to chill and maintain my sanity while trying to stay on top of my game and keep my anxious thoughts at bay. Soul was founded 5 years ago by brother and sister duo Mike and Angie Lee. Mike is a former world-ranked professional boxer, and Angie is an author and professional speaker who had the desire to create natural alternatives to medication that tackle problems they deal with themselves, like sleeplessness, anxiety, focus, and pain. And that's not all Soul's got. Whether you're looking for a sleep aid, enhanced focus, or pain relief, Soul has all your wellness needs covered. And Soul's products are grown right here in the USA, organically farmed and gluten-free. So give Soul a try. Head to getsoul.com and use code MIDAS for 30% off your order. That's 30% off your order using code MIDAS, MEIDAS. One last time, that's getsoul.com and code MIDAS for 30% off.
So when we started the MeidasTouch Network, an online store was the furthest thing from my mind. Now we're able to bring you the best pro-democracy merchandise, and it's so easy. And it's all because I use Shopify. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business, from the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage? Shopify is there to help you grow the same way it helped us grow at the MeidasTouch Network. Whether you're selling scented soap, sounds good, or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to the other leading commerce platforms, and sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. We use Shopify at store.meidastouch.com, and I know you know how seamless that is, and it's completely revolutionized everything we do. It allows us to easily manage our shop, view analytics, provide the best customer service, and streamline our entire online shopping experience from A to Z. We wouldn't be able to bring you all the products you know and love without Shopify, and we can't speak highly enough about Shopify. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US, and Shopify's the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklyn, and millions of other entrepreneurs like MeidasTouch of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way, because businesses that grow with Shopify. So sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Meidas, all lowercase. Go to Shopify, SHOPIFY. So go to shopify.com/Meidas now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Meidas.
Big shout out to all those sponsors. The discount codes are in the description. Jordy spends a lot of time not just working with the sponsors, but testing the product and vetting them. And, we usually get such great feedback on all the products and services that sell, and they help our pro-democracy network here. So, Brett, where we left off, I was talking about Donald Trump's kind of latest post here, blaming now the Democrats in the debate, and all of MAGA's kind of jumped along with this as well, saying the debate and Democrats' rhetoric. That's why what a Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy supporter was at Donald Trump's Florida Golf Club, like someone who voted for Trump in 2016, who's been spreading COVID disinformation, this guy, and who's been posting Tulsi Gabbard, Nikki Haley stuff. This is not like a Democratic person or a leftist person. It seems like a mentally ill person. And now we're also learning as well from various reports that the Secret Service had warned Donald Trump this golf course is right next to, public highways and public roads, and that it's dangerous and you shouldn't be there. And now all of MAGA is saying you can't ever, because you're criticizing Donald Trump, that's what's causing it. Brett, break it down.
Yeah, it's it's pretty transparent what they're doing. And when you look at, for example, the shooters, he didn't take a shot. When you look at the guy who had the gun near Mar-a-Lago, who was arrested over the weekend, all of his social media feeds read like a deranged lunatic, like someone who's severely like a mentally ill person. His politics are all over the map. He says he voted for Trump in 2016. He appears to be, a fan of Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley. And he has a lot of posts about Ukraine, and it's just COVID conspiracies. And it's just a whole lot of stuff. But, I think ultimately the Trumpers, they want to silence dissent over anything that happens. So when this incident happens over the weekend, what do? Now, any criticism that is levied against Donald Trump, they say you can't say that. They say, oh, you can't say Donald Trump wants to be a dictator on day one. Why? Those are his words. Of course we could say that. You can't say Donald Trump's a threat to democracy. You're inciting violence. No, I mean, yes, you can. You can absolutely say Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. He tried to end it last time he didn't leave office, and he will try to do it again if he is in office. These are just facts. And if you don't want us to state the facts, that he should not be engaging in that sort of rhetoric and that sort of behavior. Keep in mind also, there have been such inflammatory posts from Republicans nonstop. We saw Donald Trump's post even after this incident over the weekend was really fanning the flames of violence. We saw the Libertarian Party of, I think, New Hampshire yesterday do such a horrific post about Kamala Harris that I'm not even going to mention what they said here, but it was along these lines. Every day you have these threats from MAGA, and you have these terminally online people who just douse themselves in complete and utter bullshit, to say a word, that are just lies and lies and lies. And it's either they believe these lies and they feel the need to spread them, or they are willfully spreading these lies to try to influence the election. I mean, hey, I was going through, this is not even all of them, but these are just some of the lies, Ben, that I saw over the weekend as I was scrolling through the wonderful world of Elon Musk's X, which is a complete and total cesspool of information where facts are drowned out and where conspiracy theories and lies are elevated by the owner of the website. So here's an example. And we showed you, the Taylor Swift one where it used this image of her crying over a young child who died of cancer to say that she lost an estimated $150 million due to boycotting of her merch and memorabilia. Once again, that is a complete and utter lie, but that got millions and millions and millions of views on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Once again, total lie. Another total lie being spread. ABC News whistleblower swears under penalty of perjury that Kamala Harris dictated the terms of the questions. Lie. Marjorie Taylor Greene, a member of Congress who has access to the most privileged, confidential intelligence information that exists in the entire world. Marjorie Taylor Greene says, oh, that whistleblower, the ABC whistleblower who was speaking out against Kamala Harris, she died in a car accident. That's what reports say. Died in a car accident, the whistleblower. There was no whistleblower. There was no car accident. Once again, this is something that is completely made up by Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think what a lot of these people are doing also now on the right, and this is something for you to look out to, they will create like a blog on WordPress, like on free software or whatever. They will create fake news websites and then post a report. They will write up a fake story, make up a lie. They will screenshot that report and then post it to Twitter, and then Marjorie Taylor Greene reads it and either willfully or unwillingly then goes and spreads this BS. And I'll just say, either way, that's a problem. Either way, it's problematic. If you're Marjorie Taylor Greene, a member of Congress, if you're J.D. Vance, a U.S. senator who's running for vice president, or Donald Trump, who can't distinguish between something that's a real story and something that is somebody's making something up on the internet or a Facebook post, which is how a lot of these things are being spread as well. I can keep going through the lies. I mean, they made up this fake story in The Atlantic. They wrote a fake photoshopped headline, why migrants eating cats might be a good thing. And this verified account on Twitter goes right on cue. That one was actually fact-checked on Twitter. Another one, new leaks indicate Lindsey Davis and David Muir were each paid $1 million for the Kamala campaign for moderating the debate. Once again, total lie, completely made up stuff. But this is their strategy. Yep. Flood the zone with lies. And what you're going to do, and this is Elon Musk's plan, which is why he's important to talk about also, flood the zone with lies and then try to get those lies seen by enough people who aren't as in tune with the news, who aren't as in tune with everything that's going on, push it to them in push notifications, because I've seen this happen on my phone, send it out as if they're news stories, and basically try to trick enough of the voting public who is on the fence that these lies are real. We see it over and over and over again. And like I said earlier, this is so pernicious, and it's also often designed in order to silence the person they're targeting and to silence other people as well. And this is their strategy. So we got 50 days now to the election from the day we're recording this. Expect the lies every day to increase. Expect in October, expect right near the election, expect them to continuously be amplifying just garbage and BS. And so if you come across anything, quite frankly, that seems, I don't know about that, that seems a little off, you're probably right, because these apps, especially this Twitter X thing that's going on, they are designed to spread lies. They are designed to pollute the information ecosystem with garbage. I mean, that's what's happening.
That's why the debate was so devastating, though, for Donald Trump, right? It was, some small commercial breaks. But other than that, the American people got to see the Donald Trump. That's Donald Trump eating dogs, eating cats, unhinged, can't put concepts together. But notice what happened right after. The media then tried to both sides this thing. CNN has on its Trump people who say that he did great. Then they have on, it's people who they call the liberals who say he did horrible. They yell at each other. And that's like CNN, MSNBC style, right? Fox is saying that was Trump being Trump. He was great. They criticized Vice President Kamala Harris in all different types of ways. They said, oh, she looked like a mean girl, or, oh, she was kind of arrogant with her facial gestures, or, oh, she was too scripted, oh, it was rigged. It was 3-on-1. It was unfair to Donald Trump. Look at the press going after Donald Trump versus just saying what happened. Donald Trump got his ass kicked because he's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't have good policies. He's unhinged. He's a dangerous person. He doesn't even know what the hell he's doing. He can't even form sentences, yet alone. To Governor Walz's point, what policy? The guy doesn't even speak in sentences. It's why it was so important when we cover his events and rallies. As much as I don't like to show Trump, I don't like showing those videos, but I know it's vital that we look at it and not sane wash it. That's what the media does. It's called sane washing, where they try to make this look like it's normal. And now that we're seeing all of these polls come out post the debate, which show Vice President Kamala Harris pulling ahead, the corporate media needs to do something. I'll show you what they're doing in a second. And it's not data-driven. But you take a look at the ABC Ipsos poll. It has Vice President Kamala Harris up 6 with likely voters. The Morning Consult poll has her up 5. Another Ipsos poll has her up 5. And all these polls somewhere between 4 and 5, and Vice President Kamala Harris getting more than 50% of support in these various polls as well. When you dig deeper into the Ipsos poll at her favorability rating, she's got 47% favorability rating, which has a net plus 3%. On the other hand, Donald Trump's unfavorability rating is 58%, a net negative 23% unfavorability. You look at Iowa right here, and it used to be Donald Trump up 18. And now in Iowa, Vice President Kamala Harris only trails by 4. You take a look at the Financial Times polling on just some basic data. Who's better for the middle class, small business, union workers, blue-collar workers? Vice President Kamala Harris leading by 7 to 13 points in these various categories. When it comes to large corporations and wealthy people, Donald Trump there up 48% as someone who will be helping the wealthy people out. And, you know, one of the things we're seeing as well now is Vice President Kamala Harris expanding the electoral map, and Dems expanding the electoral map. Now there's a number of congressional districts that were not in play are now in play in Michigan, in Iowa, across the country right now. And Democrats are actually investing in these areas. Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Walz are also focused on helping down ballot Democrats as well, whereas the MAGA Republicans are just giving everything to Donald Trump. And so there's momentum there. So let's take a look. What's the corporate media doing? Now, to me, again, I've called CNN out for media malpractice numerous times, and this is just another example of it. It's like, what the hell are you doing, CNN? Like, you should be better than this. On the one hand, we're the beneficiary of them being terrible, because then we get their viewers. But I also want to encourage them, stop doing crap like this. Stop having people who you call undecided voters who are not really undecided voters. Stop that crap. Just stop it. You know, and they've changed their protocols, I've noticed, since our reports. But why in the world is CNN reporting not on actual meaningful, statistically significant data like voter registration and early vote analysis, but they're focused on random betting markets? They're focused on random betting odds. As Tom Bonnier, who we've had on the show, who runs a data analysis organization that focuses purely on the data, the actual information, who's registered where, are there spikes in registration in terms of mail-in votes? He'll start analyzing where are these votes coming from, and we can micro-target and know. CNN, this is what Tom Bonnier goes, no, CNN, we cannot be determining probabilities of electoral scenarios based on betting odds. No, because CNN is showing the betting markets now. And why are they showing the betting markets? Because if they're showing you the polls are showing Vice President Kamala Harris pulling ahead. Now, polls don't vote. And also, it should be noted, and if you go back to the interview I did recently last week with Tom Bonnier and Simon Rosenberg, one of the pieces of data I pointed out that all of the corporate media ignores is, you know, those 538 averages that everybody talks about? In the most recent primaries in states like Michigan, Donald Trump underperformed the 538 aggregate polling in Michigan by 15 points. That's not like 2 points, 3 points. The 538 average overinflated what it thought Trump was going to do by 15. And then in mostly every other state other than North Carolina, this is like 6 months ago. Like, this is like 60 years ago. Like, it just happened. And nobody talks about it. And remember what the corporate media wanted. They camped out in certain areas in Michigan and in Pennsylvania because they were positive that people were going to turn against Biden in those primaries. Remember? And then when people didn't, and the data was not there, but the data was against Trump, they just dropped it. And no one talks about Trump underperforming. So what we do here on the MeidasTouch Network is we're very data focused on the actual information, early voter registration, early voting. And that's what Tom Bonnier does, but that's not what CNN is doing here. So I just wanted to flag that as well for everybody. And I wanted to show this as well. The acting Secret Service director recently held a press conference about what went down in Florida. I just want you to all have the latest information on it. Can we play this clip?
A Secret Service advance agent supporting the front edge of the agency's layered approach to protection encountered an individual attempting to secrete himself in the wood line. This happened, the alleged gunman was on the public side of the fence near the 6th screen. A layered approach of security is integral to the Secret Service's protective methodologies, and it's also the key to our success. As former President Trump was moving through the 5th fairway across the course and out of sight of the 6th screen, the agent, who was visually sweeping the area of the 6th screen, saw the subject armed with what he perceived to be a rifle and immediately discharged his firearm. The subject, who did not have line of sight to the former president, fled the scene. He did not fire or get off any shots at our agent.
You heard that, did not have a line of sight. I think that is important as well. But look, at the end of the day, the gun laws in Florida basically allow anybody to have guns pretty much. Donald Trump brags that the NRA, that he did nothing when it comes to guns and won't do anything for common sense gun control. And then Donald Trump was warned by the Secret Service about this golf club and about numerous ways that he behaves. And Donald Trump refuses to do what any other candidate would do, which is to conform their behavior to the best practices. And then to compound matters, then Donald Trump and MAGA blame the Democrats for it and blame leftists for it, who have nothing to do with it at all. But I want to show this, Brett. I want to show what J.D. Vance, what he said, though, because while I'm critical of CNN and I'm often critical of Dana Bash, when she does a good interview and does things, I think that I should give credit where credit is due there. I thought her interview with J.D. Vance, was pretty good this weekend. So let's just show these clips of J.D. Vance. You can
by the way, Ben, I just pulled this up, and before we go into Vance, I think it's worth showing this. One of Trump's first actions, by the way, when he became president, was to end the rule to block mentally ill people from getting guns. I just think that's an important frame of reference as well here. And the sick truth about it, Ben, is that if any incident happened like this at a school, and if it was way worse, if kids got gunned down, if kids were shot, you know what these Republicans would be doing today? Instead of blaming the Democrats for it, they'd probably be doing that too. That's what they do also, even when it's, these Republican shooters and stuff. But they would be wearing AR-15 pins to Congress. They would be celebrating the gun. That's what they would be doing. And how do I know? Because that's what they do after past school shootings. We have pictures of it. They go, they wear AR-15. Oh, sorry, this time I guess it would be an AK-47 pin, because that's apparently what this shooter had on him. But that's the level of seriousness that these people take the gun issue, that when there is a horrific tragedy against children in schools, they celebrate the gun and they wear AR-15 flag pins to Congress. It is just the absolutely most despicable thing. And speaking of despicable thing, Ben, J.D. Vance. And what did you want to play from J.D. Vance here? Because, Ben, there's so much. It is like, this was honestly probably like one of the worst interviews I've ever seen on live television. I don't quite understand why they're sending you out. I kind of am starting to come around to your theory. Like, are they hazing this guy? Like, what is going on here? This guy's horrible. I'll play you the moment where Dana Bash fact checks J.D. Vance here, and he didn't even know what to say.
You're not just a bystander. You're the senator from Ohio. So instead of saying things that are wrong and actually causing the hospitals, the schools, the government buildings to be evacuated because of bomb threats, because of the cats and dogs thing, why not actually be constructive in helping to better integrate them into the community? Because there are a lot of employers there who say that the Haitian workers are helping fill jobs that they need desperately filled.
Dana, first of all, let me just respond to a couple of things that you said, but I want to start with something you said, which I think is frankly disgusting and is more appropriate for a Democratic propagandist than it is for an American journalist. There is nothing that I have said that has led to threats against these hospitals. These hospitals, the bomb threats and so forth, it's disgusting. The violence is disgusting. We condemn it. We condemn all violence.
Senator, this happened after you and President Trump were on the debate stage, said that cats and dogs were being eaten.
You asked a question, Dana, and I'm going to go ahead and answer it.
After that, they were
what we have said.
It's just like literally like he immediately goes to attack her personally. And I've noticed he does this in like all interviews now. He goes, no, you're disgusting. You're disgusting. It's like a very Trumpian thing, but he can't quite pull it off. And he blames her for being, quote, disgusting, while he literally is the individual who is causing terror. Let's not get it twisted. He's causing terror in his own state. These are his constituents, and he is making them fear for their lives and causing all of these shooting threats, bomb threats. He's making these hospitals and schools get evacuating. He's traumatizing a generation of kids with his lies. Like, this is completely unacceptable behavior. And honestly, he looks like he's got nothing behind his eyes when you look at him. Like JD Vance, if you even go back to his 2016 comments when he was a never Trump guy, JD Vance back then spoke out against this exact sort of thing. There's a tweet from 2016 where JD Vance writes that Trump makes people I care about, like immigrants in my community, feel unsafe. That's why I can't support him. And now JD Vance has come full circle, and he is the individual who is making his own constituents feel unsafe based on a complete and utter lie that he continues to talk about, he continues to joke about, he continues to mock every single day. And this was the moment, maybe the defining moment of JD Vance of this campaign. I don't know if we could even top this, but who knows? JD Vance is that bad that we just might. But this is the moment in that interview where JD Vance let it slip. And JD Vance admitted, oh, sometimes I have to create stories to get attention. Watch.
The American media totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to,
but it wasn't just a meme,
create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, because you guys are completely letting Kamala Harris coast. You had one interview with her.
And Brett, this is not political, what I'm about to say, though. It's character, I'm about to say. When I watch J.D. Vance, when I watch Donald Trump's behavior as people, as individuals, it's the behavior of a sociopath. It's the behavior of a malignant narcissist. We've done a lot of videos on that here. And the Anti-Psychopath Pact by George Conway does well, and other creators have focused on it as well. But like when I see J.D. Vance, like you all know, you watching, listening, and I could see you hypothetically nodding your head as you're listening to this and watching this, to all of our audience out there. We all know J.D. Vance is in our world, and that behavior, sociopaths, liars, malignant narcissists, and with Trump and him, it gets deeper than that. Predators, criminals, felons. You go deeper, but that behavior is denying reality. And for me, as Governor Walz said, I don't want. And again, this is not Democrat v. Republican, because frankly, while I disagree with a ton of Mitt Romney's policies, I really wouldn't be afraid to live in a country that's led by a Mitt Romney. I wouldn't, and, even if I vehemently disagree with some policies by, maybe some policies by John McCain, say, I wouldn't be afraid of a country with a John McCain, a late great John McCain. Or I could name Republicans like that. I could disagree on policy with Liz Cheney. I may disagree on policy on Adam Kinzinger. I could go down a list of like Republicans who I know have the moral character and leadership qualities to have our country's best interest at heart, even if we want to disagree on policies. But that behavior that you just saw there with J.D. Vance and earlier with Donald Trump are the behaviors of sociopaths, malignant narcissists, and also the worst qualities that we would never want our kids to behave like that. I hate Taylor Swift. I'm going to call you Kamababla. Kamabla, that's your nickname, Kamababla. You like my nicknames? I come up with nicknames. I'm going to take the Haitians who are here, and I'm going to send you to Venezuela. It's everything. It's a deluge of all of it. But, we can chew and walk at the chew gum and walk at the same time. We can talk about all of these things and call them out each and every day and go, Trump's debate was a disaster. He's attacking Taylor Swift like a maniac. He hangs out around extreme right-wing extremists who tell him these things. His closest surrogate now is Laura Loomer. They've got Project 2025, all of it. They want to deluge us with all that. We're going to go bring it right back with the facts and the truth, this community together. I want to leave with this. Thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart on all of your best wishes. I'd be remiss if I didn't say I'm a little nervous. I'm also incredibly excited. And I want to give a special shout out to my wife, Sochi. I love her with all of my heart. She's been incredibly powerful throughout all of this. And the level of courage that she and women across this country exhibit is something that I wish that I could reflect a fraction of that every day. And, it's people like her, and frankly, it's people like all of you who give us the courage and the strength and the energy to make this network. And so I hope that we do justice in our own small way with this show to help you and to help this country, however, frankly, we can. So I'm going to be spending time with her. Brett and others are going to be making a lot of videos. You'll be seeing more of them. I'll still be doing some videos from time to time, but I'll be back soon. But I'm obviously going to be with Sochi, with our daughter, and we'll keep you posted. I'll try to get some photos as soon as I can. But again, thank you to everybody who's wished me well. And I just know that I don't know all of you by, I see your comments. And for those who join Patreon, I get to see many of your faces. But I'm sure there's so many viewers out there who don't post back or whatever, but who are big Meidas Mighty fans. And every day you are an example, though, of what makes our country so special. And while I can't call each and every one of you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I just want to leave you with that. So we'll keep you posted. And now I'm going to go to with Sochi. We'll keep.
You got to go. Get out of here. You literally gotta run.
I got my bag packed. I literally got to go. I'll talk to y'all soon.
Shout out to the Meidas Mighty.
Standing strong against the fascists. We sing our song. We will get it right whenever.
It's Ken Harbaugh with the MeidasTouch Network. The film Against All Enemies, which I co-produced with Ben Meiselas and this network, has won awards around the world for its up-close portrayal of America's insurrectionist movement. It premieres in the U.S. on March 29th on Amazon and Apple TV. Go to againstalllenemiesfilm.com or click the link below. But don't just watch Against All Enemies. Tell your friends about it. It's one more way to hold accountable those who threaten our democracy. Thanks, Meidas Mighty. Let's use our power well.